Saturday, February 23rd, 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 2019. Guys, we're looking at a map of the United States here at Intellicast.com. You can find this map at the website, MrMBB333.com, under the Interactive Weather Map tab. That's always linked below in the description box of every video. The map is very colorful today. I don't think I've ever seen quite this much diversity with regard to weather advisories from the National Weather Service that cover more than half of the United States. We've got blizzard warnings, flood watches, flood warnings, fog warnings, dense fog advisories, high wind warnings, high wind watches, red flag alerts, just about everything you can think of. Hard freeze advisories out here in Arizona. Just unbelievable. Here in far western New York, they could see high winds today up to 70 miles per hour. Flood watches and warnings all through Tennessee. We talked about that earlier in the week, and the National Weather Service was saying that they had never seen anything quite like that, where the entire state of Tennessee was under a flood watch of anywhere from 5 to possibly 10 inches of rain this week, and it does look like it's holding true to form according to the river gauges, which we're going to take a closer look at here in a minute, through the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys, as we now have 191 locations at flood stage. So we're going to take a closer look at that here in a minute. But I want to talk about what we're seeing here at VentureSky.com. I'm going to back it up a couple of hours to 11 a.m. In fact, we'll start at 8 a.m. today. And you can see conditions down here in Louisiana right now, parts of western Mississippi, Louisiana, up into Arkansas. This is a map that's featuring the lifted index. And what that's showing us are the conditions in the troposphere, up in the atmosphere. And there's instabilities with regard to temperature, warm and cold air. And sometimes those warm and cold air collisions create tornadoes on the ground. When they want to bring their issues from the sky down to the ground, this is what we can see. And sometimes they can be quite dramatic. I'm not saying that's going to happen today, but it did kind of remind me of something, an email I received from a gentleman by the name of Dave. And he was talking about a super outbreak back in 1974. It was in April, but it was also a solar minimum year. And we are in a solar minimum year right now in 2019. And you can also find that information at the website under this tab right here where it says SFU 70. That's the most important number on this website, to be honest with you. If you click on that, that shows you where we're at with regard to solar minimum and the radio sun. Up here, we're at solar maximum. Down here, 2019, we're in solar minimum. And we're going to stay down here for the next few years. So we need to get used to these really unique weather patterns because they're going to persist. Okay, we're going to see some wild weather for the next few years. We just saw 40 plus inches of snow. We set a record cold yesterday out here in the Phoenix area where the high temperature was 47 degrees. That's lower than the average overnight low. That was the high for yesterday. So that was a record on top of multiple areas that saw 20, 30, 40 plus inches of snow in the high country. That's the same storm that's moving to the east, northeast right now, that's bringing blizzard conditions through Kansas, parts of Colorado, up into Nebraska. And that's what they're showing here on this map, that honestly, this is unprecedented. Over half of the United States is under some sort of weather advisory. Look here in Kansas, blizzard warning in effect until 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. High winds, heavy snow is going to create whiteout conditions. The high winds I've already talked about, but you can see how far these high winds extend. And if we look at nullschool.net, you can see the pattern of these high winds as they're going right through the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys. And that's what I want to talk about with regard to this super outbreak from 1974 that set all kinds of records with regards to tornadoes, and it was a wide area, much like we're seeing today. There's a wide area that's under weather advisories, and it's in the same exact location. Northern Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, over into Virginia, West Virginia, far western North Carolina, North Georgia. So just be alert today, guys, because conditions are going to be favorable for severe weather. Whether it's tornadoes or not, we hope not. But I'm just saying, according to this lifted index, the possibility is definitely there. And this has been accurate in the past. And again, this is at VentureSky.com. So we're looking at 8 a.m. and you can see the atmospheric index or lifted index is at a -6, -7. Now we're looking at -5, -6, and this is moving north up into Tennessee, southern Illinois by 2 p.m. this afternoon. You can see it moving north, and that's the same exact area where the super outbreak occurred. 5 p.m. tonight. Lifted index is covering a wide area extending from southern Louisiana all the way up into central Illinois, basically. By 8 p.m. tonight, it's going to move to the east, and you can see that big, almost looks like a bow echo, extending from southern Louisiana up into north central Illinois. And again, the lifted index is prime for severe weather. Will it produce tornadoes? We'll have to wait and see. Hope not, but the conditions are definitely going to be favorable, guys, for severe weather of all different kinds. I mean, you saw the map all the way across the United States. Everything you can think of: hard freeze warnings, blizzard watches, high wind warnings, flood watches. Speaking of the floods, let's go look at the river gauges, and they are just unbelievable. They're climbing higher and higher as I do this video, and rightfully so. If you take a look at all of the rain that's been coming this way all week long, I don't know the exact totals. I've gotten an email from a gentleman that lives in eastern Tennessee by the name of Chad. He said he's never seen anything like it. They live on a farm. They've had high winds over here in eastern Tennessee he sent me a long email explaining to me what they've been dealing with. And the winds over there have been so strong that it's moved a couple of their barns off of their foundations. It's kind of twisted the house that he lives in off of its foundation a little bit. He was very concerned about the high winds and the unusual weather that he said they've never seen in all the years that they've lived over here in far eastern Tennessee. He also sent me a map of a road that had been closed because there was some sort of a slide and the road was damaged. So this was the detour around that area. A lot going on, and you can see all of these little areas that are marked in the darker green were under some sort of a weather advisory at the time that he sent me this snapshot. So thank you, Chad, from eastern Tennessee. They were dealing with high winds earlier in the week, and as you can see, there's going to be more high winds today that are spanning over 1,000 miles, well over 1,000 miles, from north New York all the way down to western Texas. Unbelievable, guys. So big heads up if you're in any of those areas. Let's zoom in and take a look at some of these river gauges real quick while we're here. Then I've got some pictures and video to share with you guys from different locations. You can see the purples are increasing. Mississippi River at Osceola rising today from 37. It's going to go up to 41. That's major flood stage, and it's going to remain major flood stage through March. Unbelievable. A lot of water. Ohio River at Cairo, Illinois, major flood stage. When it's up in the purples like that, that's a major issue. Another major flood stage, Ohio River at Smithland Lock and Dam. Go over into Tennessee, and you can see rivers are starting to rise over there as well. All of these reds are flooding issues. These are moderate flooding concerns, the reds. That's Perryville, Tennessee River, and in fact it's expected to go to major flood stage on the 24th. All of these that's near major flood stage. Duck River in Centerville, Tennessee. Another river here, Savannah, Tennessee, major flood stage on the 24th in a big way. So all of this area here, definitely, I see why now they're under flood warnings. They are definitely going to be experiencing major flood concerns in a lot of areas through here, and rightfully so. With all of the rain that we've seen through these areas, it's just been an unbelievably relentless storm system, and that pattern has been locked in place for days. Look at that. Here's where your high winds are coming from that expand or span nearly 1,500, 1,200 miles. High wind warnings on this map. Once again, you can find that map at Intellicast.com. It's linked at the website. I want to share some pictures, or this was sent in yesterday from Louisiana, where they're experiencing Possibly some severe weather today, dense fog this morning. Ryan from Louisiana noticed these very unusual clouds. He sent me a couple of still shots and this small video of the sky, which was incredibly unique. Look at that. Look at that picture. Wow. That's from Louisiana. Ryan sent me that yesterday. So you can see the atmosphere yesterday was already starting to show signs of, uniqueness. The atmosphere is very primed right now in that area for severe weather. So just a big heads up, guys. Here's something that's kind of unusual from Southern California. They were seeing a mixture of snow and hail. This was sent in by Jennifer from Southern California. This occurred yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before. Anyway, they were quite surprised when they saw this coming down. A rare sight that definitely does not happen very often. In the same location, Jennifer also shared this picture of a beautiful rainbow from the same location, probably right after or during the snow and ice event. This is a photo sent in by Joshua from Ohio. It's actually from Trenton, Ohio, of the Miami River. And this picture is a couple of weeks old as it was flooding then. You can see it's all the way up next to the highway he was traveling on. Again, this is in Trenton, Ohio. This is the Miami River that more than likely, if it was flooding back here, this was on the 8th of February. It's going to flood even more after all of this severe weather moves through the area. So just be alert, guys. If you're in any of these areas here, I have circled on the map or squared. The squared is this morning and this afternoon. The area that's in the circle is mainly this afternoon and this evening. And these are troposphere instabilities with regard to hot and cold. And there's going to be collisions of hot and cold in the atmosphere in these areas today. And this will last all day long until the sun goes down, and it won't go away until probably after midnight tonight. But you could see some tornadoes in these areas. I'm just saying conditions are definitely going to be favorable for the possibility of tornadoes, high winds, heavy rain, flooding, flash flooding, and the ground is already saturated in this area. So it's not going to take much to see more flash flooding occur in those areas. I'm going to finish this video with a very unique picture sent in by Morgan from Colorado. And again, I've had this picture for about 2 weeks, and I've been meaning to share this, and I thought now is just as good a time as any. Look at that. Something she noticed in Colorado. What is that? I've never seen anything like it. I mean, the clouds look normal, and then you've got this circle in the sky of what? What do you call that? That's why she took the picture. She was very intrigued by it, and that is very intriguing. Have no idea what that is. You know, it's not airplanes, it's not birds. Birds don't fly in a circular or oval formation like that. They look to be slightly different sizes. I mean, that one looks bigger. You got bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller. I don't know. Have no clue what that is. Neither did she. She just found it unusual and sent that in. So thank you, Morgan, for sharing unusual sky phenomenon observed up in Colorado. So big heads up, guys. Today, if you're especially in the Ohio River Valley, there's going to be a possibility for tornadoes today. Not saying that that's a guarantee, but there's definitely going to be flooding that's already occurring, and look for the flooding to continue for several days as there's a lot of moisture continuing to fall in these areas. And there are watches and warnings right now as I do this video that cover more than half of the United States. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a super day and be safe out there.